let's see if I have some audio going. Yes. Okay, so I have audio. Everything's working good. Now, here's the real challenge. I have not figured out how to get my capture card and my camera and OBS working 100%. So if it looks weird or sounds out of sync or something, please let me know, and I'll just use the preset, even though the preset looks really garbage. And I should be streaming at 4K. There's no reason why I can't be streaming at 4K other than I'm only playing with OBS the first 30 minutes up until the stream starts, and I'm not very familiar with it. So, was my beanie even on straight? I'm so cold. I was working on a motorcycle in the rain today, so I'm just cold. Okay, so I can kind of see. I'm going to close this monitor off. See if this is working. Actually, I don't really care. Just watch the live stream new. I'll move this over. Put this up here. I don't know how far I am behind. But anyway, guys, guess what this is? I got this in the mail, and I could not be more excited. This is the HDPLEX AC, finally, the 400 AC, I should say. And I have been waiting on this for so long. Now, Larry had been testing it this past week. This has gone through, I believe, the 9th revision. This has been a very difficult, I don't have the camera up high enough. This has been a very difficult product for him to develop. And there's been just lots of delays because it's been so challenging. But he says that this one is looking very, very good. And it tests so well, in fact. Now, this is Larry saying this, that he's actually going to be raising the power cap on it because it has a 400 hard cap right now. If it hits, it will shut off. But this is the beta unit. The final version will have a 450 watt high limit on it when it will shut off. So we don't need that much, guys, for mini power. We do not need that much. So I am really hoping this is going to be stable for the parts that we can use it for. Now, as everybody knows, while this is a magical 400 watt brick, and it will fit in the Mini, it won't fit in the Mini with oversized cards. So I would like to see a nice conversion kit to use this as an external power brick, which would be epic, right? Because who wants to carry around the Dell 330 power brick, which is 330 watts and far, 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 far bigger. I mean, this thing is just beautiful. He says that the fan doesn't come on unless it gets to be really working hard, but I want to test stuff out today. The first thing I want to test out, because I even haven't tried yet, is put it in the Mini. I got the box, and I wasn't supposed to get till tomorrow, so this is kind of lucked out for our stream. And if somebody could say something in chat, I'm not sure if the computer blew up or not, so that would be helpful. And is my screen even showing my whole head? I'm not even sure. But let's give it a look and find out. Something works. Thank you. Alright, so one of the reasons that I designed the Mini the way I did, there's lots of cool little details and stuff that I'll share with you guys for the next couple weeks. But the side braces, normally a computer case, when it's folded over, it has the flange on all four sides, because that's just how you make the sheet metal part strong. This is an expensive part. It's a really pretty part. I really like it. But this piece is folded over and kind of squished flat without breaking the aluminum. And then these holes are actually tapped for M3 mounting holes. So that's what you can mount the HDPLEX 160 for. And it also shares the same mounting points for the HDPLEX 400, although you'd have to come from this side to plug it in. But what's so cool about this is you'll notice that because the curved edges of the Mini are curved, that reduces the amount of volume that you have inside your computer case. But by removing those flanges and making the part really stiff in this way, we get to make back an extra 4 millimeters difference because the Mini uses premium 2 millimeter thick aluminum all the way around. So this allows Larry to make the power supply and actually fit it in the side panel. Now, a lot of people were very upset on the forum because they were upset that this power supply is not going to fit in the front of the Mini. And that's because of the flanges on the top and the bottom. If it fit in the front, that would mean that you could fit this with like the Gigabyte 1080 Mini, which is now out. Now at the time, I wasn't sure about, and I'm still not sure because I haven't tested it, the actual power output of this brick under load with hot air blasting from a 1080 on it. So this is actually kind of my fault in a way. I was like, no, it doesn't need to fit in the front and you can take up those 2 millimeters. Because as a chassis designer, I have to continually try to be making these, I don't know what to call them, like traffic cones inside the Mini to help users install things in an appropriate way that's going to work for them. You know, the advanced modders are always going to find a way around traffic cones, and that's a good thing. That's what I want. But the people that are just starting these builds and trying to figure out how do I put these things together, I do want to make traffic cones. Is it a good reason? Is this brick going to kind of defeat the purpose of me doing that? Maybe. But there's always room for another revision of the Mini. Creeper Shades asks, what's the best power-hungriest GPU that goes in this? The Vega Nano. That can fit with this in a brickless build, it would be the Vega Nano, which I've not had the good luck with mine, and 2 other people in the small form factor community have not had good luck with theirs. I'm getting another one in to test. I think they're just bad, because they're only made by one company, and I don't know. I emailed them, well actually, Craig emailed them and said that they said that we need to update the driver, which makes me kind of roll my eyes. I didn't fight it because there was a new driver that released that same day, which was 2 days ago. So I'll give it a shot, but I mean, realistically, probably not going to help. Okay, so let's stick this little guy in and look kind of at the measurements. I have this actually in CAD. I mean, this was developed using the mini CAD by Larry. So he says it fits all in here. But the question is, how does it fit all in here? So sticking it in works fine. In the front, we have a 6 millimeter gap between the fan and the front panel, which reduces if we push it towards the front for a C8 connector, which I'll just go grab. I have to go grab from the garage. Sorry. You cannot buy this right now, but you'll be able to buy it soon. Once this brick is confirmed working, he's sending it to different people to test out. He said it would be about 15 days from the time he places the order to actually get them in stock. So that sounds really great to me. So we will be able to fit the C8 connectors that I use from Schroeder. It will fit fine. We'll have to bend the pins a little tiny bit forward, which is no problem at all, just like so. And we will have clearance. So that is great. It's fantastic to know. Now, what I'm interested in is how the hay, I put it in upside down, how the hay are we going to bolt it in? Because it does use these mounting holes, which is all fine and dandy, but the problem is the Mini's side cover panels actually will cover those holes because I thought it would look more beautiful that way. But that actually does make mounting rigidly with screws something that's not going to happen from that direction. We could use studs, but you know, once you run to the very end of the stud, I don't know how you're going to get it in all the way. Maybe with a magnet, steel stud, twist the magnet. It's the only thing I can think of in order to rigidly mount it. But I'm a huge fiend for industrial strength double-sided tape which would work. And as you can see, the top cover panel fits on it, no problem. And we have lots of heatsink exposed to the sky slots on either side, and the heatsink, of course, on the right, the back, the bottom of the power supply exposed to sky slot. So Larry was really smart. He put the cover next to the GPU and made sure that all of the heat sinks were going to be facing edges of the Mini that we want them to face. Countersink, the screw heads will not work just because it's possible, I guess it's possible it could work. You'd have to countersink that part. And I'm not sure what will happen because it is a specialty made folded part. We could see what happens. If you're willing to mod it, no problem. I'm sure that you can make it work. It's just that there's not a way to do it for the person that wants to install it themselves easily without modding. If you're a modder, it's not, nothing is ever a problem. Just a roadblock. Cyril Zabala says, is this an internal power supply? It can be either or. It's developed to be an internal power supply, but what makes this so beautiful is with a mounting kit, which we can use by extending the ends of it. These plates on the side come off, and I want to make some 3D printed parts. We can actually use it as an external brick, and look how beautiful this brick would be as an external brick. I mean, compared to the Dell 330. And from all the tests that I've seen, you know, that Larry's show with me on Skype, this is going to be a much, much better brick than the Dell 330. So, I think that we should turn it on. Creeper asks if I'm gonna open it up, and I don't know. I mean, I will open it up at some point. I don't know if I should open it up yet. I haven't asked to do that, and I'd like to see if it works first before I do that. I mean, it's supposed to work. It's already been tested, but... All right, what do I start with first? Let's... Start with this. Craig's cooler. Also, I have a big old box from Chad Orturn, which I'll unbox right now. Chad, thank you for being an awesome supporter of this channel. If you guys want to send me anything, I'll give you my address. I love unboxing weird, cool stuff. We packaged it nice. Ooh, look what we have. We have a cryo-rig copper. Did he send me a full of shit from Full of Shit Audio? Or is this another heatsink? It is a heatsink. I'm not sure what this one is, but boy, is it low profile. I'll ask him about that. And of course, the Thermolab, which everyone always asks me about, which I have tested. I was gonna do a video on it, but I didn't like its performance. So I didn't do one, but I should have done one anyway because I still get asked a million billion times, how does this compare? You should compare it to the NHL 9i. I got a $50 gift card to HelloFresh. Thank you, Chad. Is this a Newegg box? Probably. Let's see what this last one is. If this was my vegan nano, I would give it to you, Windfall, because it has given me nothing but trouble. All right, here is the LP53. The other one was just a Thermolab product. brand new one. The newer, thicker heatsink. And this terrible fan. The fan actually works really well, but it's really noisy. So thank you very much, Chad. I will test all these coolers together so people can finally stop asking me about them, which is fair. They should ask me about them. This is heavy. But the sad thing is there's no perfect cooler. You know, they all have their drawbacks. The NHL9i is just the best all around, and it comes close to perfect, to be honest. But with everything else, you have to mix and match and max and mitch. But thank you so much for sending me hundreds of dollars of coolers. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting this channel. You are amazing. Let's get back to what we were doing. Oh yeah, and Craig, he sent me this little guy, which I'm sure you guys know what this is, but I'm excited to test this out as well. Hans asks, whatever happened to the CNPS2X? I love the Zalman CNPS2X. To me, there's only two coolers for the Mini, the Zalman CNPS2X and the Noctua NHL9i. The NHL9i is just a better cooler all around for the new S4M. There were instances where it worked out for the best in the S4 Mini Classic, but I still have a special place for that cooler because it's an awesome cooler and it's 1U. So if you're doing even thinner builds, like an S3 Slim or an S1, which Chad is going to be doing, the CNPS2X is better. All right, gotta get one more thing. My hat, because it's now getting warm in this room. Hello guys, newcomers. Klaus asks, do I ever make a water-cooled case? And I would say yes, I would have. The ARC chassis, which you can check out on my website, was a case that I sold retail, e-tail, and it was definitely designed for liquid cooling in mind. Also, guys, if you have a question and you want me to answer it, it's hard for me to do the streaming and do the building and answer all the questions. So just keep at it. The super chat makes it pop up for me to see real easy. It's kind of a shameless plug. But seriously, if I miss your question, I want to answer it. It's hard for me to. But I don't ignore anybody. If you have a question, I'm going to try my best to answer it. There just have been actually some really good ones too that I've missed, but it's not my fault. Well, it is my fault, but whatever. All right, on to, again, the most important small form factor product of 2018, maybe the last 3 years. When did the Mini come out? Just kidding. All right, gonna use this. For people just joining us, this is the HDPLEX 400 AC. This is a beast of a power supply, 400 watt AC to DC power supply for use with DC-DC boards. This guy is designed for the S4 Mini. Of course, you can put in other computer cases too. I have lots of custom projects in the works for this little guy right here. But it can also be converted for a power brick, external power brick too. So internal, external power supply in the perfect form factor, in my opinion, for small form factor. So that's why it's so cool. Dominic asks, will I have a Cyber Monday sale? No, I would for fun, but it just would be too complicated and no. So I'm sorry. And Jamie asks, what is the max GPU we can put inside the case with this internal power supply? And the answer still is the Vega Nano, which I don't recommend yet because it does not work right. And I don't know anybody that has one that's working right. So if we can get it working right, this would be an awesome card. But we got to hold off on that. On the NVIDIA side of things, a 1060, a standard 1060 would fit perfectly. And you know, let's hold on to our hats and see what the 20 series offers us in small form factor form in the next several months. Hans Tang says, what was that cooler, Josh? The last one? The last one's the thermal, right? It's not Compact's cooler. Yet. But he is working on it. He's getting closer. He's getting closer. He's actually producing it. Anon says, what are my thoughts on the Intel NUC with Vega graphics? I love that thing. Their new Soul Trail NUC. I love that thing. I was going to buy one, but I had to do the Ryzen 2400G video, and that kind of ate up all my time, and I really liked that chip. The Intel one looks better as far as specs go. For me, I actually would like a more powerful CPU at the cost of maybe a less powerful GPU. But the Ryzen 2400G, I think, hits all my marks. It actually is usable. It's fun. I meant every word in my live stream. I didn't plug AMD more than I felt that they deserved it. I would definitely recommend that chip. But what's cool is that it's the first chip that's usable in its form factor. And I think that we're only going to get better stuff from here on out. For example, as far as low-end graphics cards, the 750 Ti, I think, was the first graphics card on the low end that was good. It wasn't garbage. It was actually, you could choose that as a person with no budget whatsoever. You could choose that and it'd be a smart choice for you depending on what you were trying to do. And I think that the 2400G is just about there. Erd number 3 says, Thermalite copper, where can you put the fan under the heatsink? That's the idea, is that we'll get a fan that can fit underneath the heatsink for the Mini. Maxim asks, do we get a 40mm cooler mod for this unit? Be more specific and I shall answer your question, Mr. Maxim. Dan, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Flavio says, if you would like, can you swap the 400 little fan with the Noctua one? Because Noctua love. Yes, I support that hashtag. This is pretty clever. Look, he actually includes the fan header on the outside of the power supply. I don't want to pull it too hard because I might break it before I test it. But this says that you could actually replace and pop out the fan. You don't have to take the whole thing apart. You could actually do it as a user, which is really, really sweet. But totally you could. You'd have to keep the header intact, cut these wires, and replace it with a Noctua fan. But I want to see how loud it is in a second. So I have my HDPLEX 400 here. This is a new one, but I don't know which new one. Did he update the revision number on it? This one's missing a revision number. Is it on the back? Yeah, 1.6, September 2018. So it's the same one I have right currently. My adapter plate and screws. For people that have no idea what these are, really quickly, this is a power supply. Both these together is a power supply. It's basically like your normal boxy power supply, but this is a 400 watt power supply, and the form factor allows you to stick it inside of really tiny computer cases. This is an AC-DC power supply. It converts AC coming out of your wall to DC, which is the nom yummy stuff that your computer eats. And this is a DC-DC distributor. So it takes the nom juice, puts it into this board, and then it breaks it out into different voltages and different formats that your motherboard needs. And that's what we're going to use right now to plug in and power this system. All right, I'm going to look at this for a while, so if you ask a question, I might miss it. So don't hate me. Just ask again when I'm talking. I'll answer one more question. Can you make a full custom loop on the S4 with no outside stuff, like you did on one of your car radiator videos? With no outside stuff. No, it's not possible. but you could make special attachments and make it look nice, which I've attempted to do. No, I say it's not possible. It is possible. Check out, what's Brian's mod's name? Mercury? Is that what it is? Project Mercury? So if you type in S4 Mini and Project Mercury, you can see how to do a fully internal liquid-cooled mini build, and it looks beautiful. But I know for a fact it won't work. And as far as better than an NHL9i, it'll work far worse. But it looks amazing, and it's a ginormous feat of modding, and that's why you do this thing, because it's fun and awesome, but not because it necessarily will work really well. All right, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to plug all this stuff in. So we have our 24-pin connector. We have our CPU connector. And I have to answer this question, even though 99.9% of you guys know, these split ends, this is the end that plugs into your hardware. The single end, the merged units, always goes into your power supply. And I don't think I've ever seen an example where that's not true. Not that it couldn't be true, but that's generally the case. People end up plugging these backwards in all the time. And you shouldn't do that. Jamie's poor question got held for review. He says, I would like to see how heat management is going to be as it is right next to the GPU. Fair question. I think it's going to be okay. And that's why we designed it for the side of the Mini instead of the front. Because the side of the Mini, the side of the graphics cards that we can purchase don't really dump a lot of heat there with the PCIe tab. Most of the heat's going to be dumped in the front, in the back, and the open side of the graphics card. That's usually what happens. So I think it's going to be okay. Michael Latuso donated $10 with a super chat. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. And he asks, want to try and fit Seagate's 4GB 2.5-inch drive on the side of a graphics card 14mm thick. I do believe it will work, but it will work in the farthest slot towards the front of the Mini. You cannot fit it in the back slot. So that is definitely not going to work. But I think you could work in the front slot. Okay, doke. Now I need the converter cable, which might actually be a problem. Maybe I can just plug it in straight. I'm stupid. While I was talking, I plugged in this. I don't need that. All right. And yes. Windfall asks, does my Jeep have limited slip differentials? No, I have a real Jeep with real locking differentials and locking hubs. No limited slip. Limited slip is good for people that don't want to get out of their vehicle and twist things, but you know, a real locking hub and locking differential is going to hold a lot better and also break things a lot easier. All right, not to mock your vehicle if you're using a a limited slip differential. Just teasing. Okay. So let's use this guy. Let's go full hog. Why not? In our last video that we did, we tested the 2080 Ti and the 1080 Ti, and we found that the 2080 Ti drew up to 40 watts more than the 1080 Ti. This is clearly, in my mind, whether it is true or not, in my mind, this is an overclocked 1080 Ti. That's what this is. Now, of course, you probably could overclock this and get a little bit more juice out of it. But I'm just going to choose to call it an overclocked 1080 Ti for now until it really impresses me. But I will say this. This is the most beautiful graphics card I have ever seen. That doesn't really count for much. I know it has to actually do something impressive. But the build quality on it, the craftsmanship, the design, the styling, it's amazing. And one of my favorite features of this graphics card, I just noticed this the other day and as a product designer, and it just made me I love it. The logo on the side that lights up, GeForce RTX, it lights up green. Apparently it's RGB and you can change it. It's not clear plastic. It's chrome. It's chrome. It looks like a chrome sticker, but it still will light up green underneath. Guys, that's kind of a breakthrough in modding, in my opinion. I didn't know you could use reflective acrylic and light through it, but that's really cool. Really, really cool. I want to experiment with it. When I saw that, I was like, I have an idea for a mod with that. So now I need the AC/DC. Ooh, is there some burn marks in there? I just happen to have one right here. All right. Ow. This thing's loud and can you see that right there? There we go. Let's plug all this in. I don't want to lag. And I don't know if it's my computer or my internet connection. Do I have a red or yellow in OBS? I don't know how to work OBS. On the bottom right corner it says green. Is that good? Green's usually a good color. I don't actually have the YouTube stream up because I don't have enough bandwidth to stream myself. Let's see if it clears up, and if it doesn't, I'll just stop streaming and restart streaming. Ow. There we go. And Ethernet, where are you? I don't really need you, but just in case. I don't know if Brian's still working on Project Mercury. I mean, I don't think he's abandoned it, but he's got other things going on. All right, then we need the power button, which we don't really need, but it's handy. My What's Up Pro, which they've discontinued, but this is a watt meter that has USB and it can record all the data that it's picking up, and I can plug it into my computer, and then I can pull it and look at graphs and stuff. It's really awesome. If you guys know of like a professional watt meter, please let me know, because I haven't found one, but I know that they've got to exist, and I'd like to invest in one. So if you guys know of a nice watt meter, let me know. All right, so everything is plugged in. Why do I not see a blue light? It bit me! But luckily that was the DC end of things. Oh, the light's on this side this time. But see, is this cool? The GeForce RTX lights up. That's not clear acrylic, it's chrome. It's a chrome graphic. I think that's just the coolest thing. I know you're like, whatever, Josh, but I really like it. Oh, the power popped out. You won't be able to hear me if I talk like there. Compromise. You guys can kind of see what's going on. Now, I don't know what's wrong with this CPU fan, but it runs way too high. This is Craig's computer. I haven't finished troubleshooting it. It had a lot of problems. So I apologize that it's just going to run fairly loud. All right, first things first, do we have the drivers loaded? I don't know if we do, because I installed the Vega drivers. 41170. This is not a good idea. If you right click on the desktop and you see NVIDIA control panel and Radeon settings, I know that I'm going to be in for a bad time. Usually you can actually switch between two graphics card types, no problem, and it will just be smart and it will only load the correct ones, but of course it's not playing nice for us. So I guess we'll try Furmark to start with. This is a really stupid way to test it because I don't have my 4K monitor hooked up. But I could run a long HDMI cable. And I can oversample. (8x). Use at your own risk. All right, the fan kicked on the HDPLEX 400. It's really not bad. It's not a bad sounding fan. You can hear it, but it's not a bad sounding fan. I really don't feel any air coming out the other side though. We are pulling 350 and 365 watts, between 350 and 365 watts, and just pinging back and forth. We are oversampling at 3840 by 2160, but this is not a native 4K monitor. That's all nice and good, but let's load up Prime 95 on top of this. A little bit of coil wine, not too bad. Blend. All right, Prime 95 and Furmark at the same time. And now we are at 424 watts. Larry said this was going to happen, you can't run these two at the same time until the next reversion. So I just want to see and push it. But the final version, the final revision is going to have a 450 watt cap on it instead of a hard cap at 400. It just flashed at me. The highest one it was 420 before it reset. The brick is still ice cold. Ice cold. I don't even need to use a, it's colder than my mat. So, ooh, look at that. I cut that cable somehow, or maybe it was cut beforehand. John says, Josh, you've got to run both the RTX card and the AMD drivers along with the unnecessary RGB for the highest frame rates per second. I like saying frame rates per second, even though it's frames per second. Joseph Cohen, the 450 watt version is going to be the retail version. It's going to be called the HDPLEX 400, but the peaking will be set at 450, which I have to unplug this now. All right. All right, I've got to plug the stupid thing to reset it. I'm also going to see if I can find a barrel jack that doesn't have a giant cut in the cord. Excuse me, but we have technical difficulties. Much better. You gonna do this to me, motherboard? There you go. No, Andrew. Let's give out a shout out to Andrew Vigil, who just got married and built his fiance a kick butt S4 Mini Classic. So congratulations, Andrew. You're the man. Jamie says, do I have any thoughts on the Laser 3D LZ7 chassis? I like all the Laser 3D chassis. And I'm going to be working with him coming up, looks like. So I'm really excited. Kevin's a really cool dude. I like his work. Wish this was my computer, because then I could actually put something on it. I can log into my Steam account. We find out some hacker later reads my keystrokes and gets my password. Oop. Which I actually don't know what it is. I have authenticators on everything, but I don't even actually know my own password for Steam. Okay. Thank goodness for bungee cables. Luckily, there was a box of video cards to crush my fall. What is my password? Oh, okay, that worked. Oh, now you rear your ugly head, coil wine, my worst enemy. Nanashi asks, is this in the still the soon phase? I think it's still technically in the soon phase, but as Larry was explaining to me, once this is confirmed working, everything's legitimate and awesome, it should only be 15 days from when he places the order to the point to where he can start shipping orders, which is really, really fast and awesome. So, Jamie says, do you recommend getting anything off my site to have everything ready for the power supply? You can get, I don't think you need anything off of my site, to be honest. Larry's going to be shipping this with a C8 connector that works with everything, he told me, so I don't think you need to buy anything from me, which is unfortunate. You know, I want some DLC for it. I actually don't know how to play this game. I got further than this last time. I don't know why I didn't say. Where's the Steam Cloud? Tom says, what's the difference about the new HDPLEX? Well, the new HDPLEX is 400 watts instead of 160 watts, which is awesome. All right. Jump, Laura, and use your ice pick. Nanashi says, my Mini has traveled 7,000 plus miles. That is amazing. All right. How do I get... You got the jumping part down, right? Where's the command to swing my pick? It says, it even tells me. It tells me to swing. Thank you. I thought I got that part down right. Keyboard and mouse. What's... It doesn't actually tell me? Oh, wait, down here. Melee is F? Is that how you do it? Or middle mouse? Left mouse? I'm gonna do this one more time, then I'm just gonna let it run. Okay, Laura, seriously. Okay. Okay, are you gonna do it this time? Are you gonna do it this time? Do this time? Sesky says there's been like 6 revisions of the DC ATX. Yeah, there's been at least 6. There's been 6 printed versions of it. I think there's been about 10 versions total. There were 4. Nice playthrough, Grandpa. So it's like the HDPLEX 160 XT, but in 400 watts instead. All right. So this is like the HDPLEX 160 XT, right? You got the HDPLEX. This is not. This is a Dynamo 200. But the HDPLEX 160 XT, and then you have to plug a power brick into it. This is your power brick. It's 400 watts, which is awesome. And then this end of it is like the Pico unit. Except my accidents aren't staged. I'm actually a klutz in real life. All right, I'm gonna do this one more time. Like, how do you know how you're supposed to do this thing? Is it just attack? I'd really like to climb. It's fine. It's totally fine. Noise is not bad either. Like, the fan on this is actually really good. You're hearing right now the knock to a fan, and like I said before in the stream, there's something wrong with this setup. I don't know what's wrong with it, but the fan just always runs at full blast. So I got to replace that fan. And of course the RTX is just the loudest, hottest running thing since, I don't know, since the Athlon days. But the HDPLEX itself is actually really good. $40°C on the heat sinks. And again, this is a 2080 Ti. 2080 Ti, the whole system right now is running at 390 watts during this game. So that's near maximum rating. You'll never put a 2080 Ti in a Mini. Yeah, it's really impressive. Can the new HDPLEX fit inside the S Mini? Well, I'm glad you asked. Yes, it definitely can. Though you're going to be limited to cards that are normal height. Normal height, not oversized, which is most high-end all high-end graphics cards that will fit in the Mini right now are oversized. Right now, the only exception is the Vega Nano, which doesn't run really well. To make the jump, try holding E. You're a genius. I just wanted to get a little further in case we get to a more, well, this is pretty hardcore. We're at 408 watts. No, get up there. Get up there. No, come on. No. Oh, do I have to do this? Okay. There we go. Now we're cooking with keyboard macros. One button macros. What was I doing? Sounds like we need to make a line of custom heatsinks for ITX length cards. Well, again, this is what I've been saying since 3 years ago. I think GPUs, we're going to be seeing more and more powerful GPUs in an actual small format. I'm certainly pushing for it for the manufacturers that I work with. We just got to give it some time. No, Laura! But the thing that I wanted to see was this. I wanted to see a high-end CPU, like even a 90-watt CPU, 92-watt CPU, right? With a 1060 brickless and a mini. That's a win for me. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed because they want to have a 1080 Ti and a high-end CPU inside of a mini, but let's take some baby steps here. Like, this wasn't a possibility for a brickless 1060, and now we can have a 1060 with an i7 8700K inside of a mini brickless, and it will work just perfectly. So that is huge, absolutely huge. And what we can use right now is that we can replace our power bricks with this little guy. I'm gonna make a kit for it. I'm gonna make really high-end sleeve power cables for it. So you can put this in your backpack instead of having the Dell 330. Plus, like I said, I've been designing a lot of computer cases lately. They all take use of this. Some for full-length graphics cards or not. I mean, this thing is so versatile. It fits so perfectly. This is the format it needs to be for small form factor to be really brought to the mainstream. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am for this product. I think this is the best, biggest product release of 2018, for me anyway. This is the most exciting product for 2018. And that's not to put down other great power supplies that have been releasing. Gary's power supplies, he has like a monster 1,000-watt power supply now. But it's a power external power brick, and it's really sexy and really awesome, but we don't need that much. We need something that will fit inside the mini. That's what really what I want right now. Are there 1070 cards that could fit in a brickless build? Yes. The Galax 1070 can fit with this GPU. It's very hard to find, but it will fit with this GPU. But I don't count it because it's so hard to find. Good. Now do we go left or right? I can't hear what they're saying. I don't think I'd be able to hear what they were saying even if I was here. What about the 1070 Mini? The 1070 Mini will not fit because it's oversized. Thanks, Gigabyte. They want to use that 90 millimeter, I think it's a 100 millimeter fan actually. Come on, Laura. And why don't you put your goggles or your face mask off? Your lips are going to freeze right off. I have to wear chapstick when I ride the motorcycle. I can't imagine this. Alright. We are at 404 watts. We have not gone below 404 watts. Larry says this is a very hard peak shutoff at 400 watts. But as I repeat myself over and over again because people are joining, it's going to have a 450 watt cutoff limit because this has performed so well. One more. No. The power brick will not fit in front of the Mini. As I explained early in the stream, that was designed on purpose that way. Now that it performs so well, I have regrets about it, but there's always next time. Coding and video editing can? No, I don't really use a lot of wattage when doing the video editing, even when compiling, doing the final render. The biggest thing I've ever found to do is Furmark plus Prime 95. That's what really burns through your CPU. And actually just playing video games. Playing video games like this, if I had my 4K monitor out, which is what I really should be doing, that would probably push the CPU to draw the most amount of watts. I don't know why that is. It's just something that I have found over the years. Are you going to die? I think a loading screen's a good thing, usually. Maxim says, so sand grinder. Here's how you fit it if you want to fit it. Remember what I said about the flanges? These sides not having flanges? All you gotta do, cut this flange down, cut this flange down. Doesn't do anything structurally for the Mini. You lose the ability, of course, to put over a drive bracket, but you couldn't have a drive bracket anyways with this, but that's how you would fit it in the front. I do believe it will fit with a motherboard in place. I can test that out right now. Jamie, I'm really tired, and I think I'm having a cold come on, so I don't think I'm going to do this in a case today. Plus, I want to do some actual tests, because I need to make a video on this. I'm going to close this off. Sure. Update and shut down, no thank you. Update and restart, no thank you. I just want to turn it off. You better give me an option, Windows. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. I actually don't know what CPU it is. I know it's really stupid. This is not my computer. It is a Ryzen chip, but I don't know which Ryzen chip. I would guess the 2700, but I don't know which it is yet. That's a good question. But I can test this with another computer system. We don't need to because I already measured the watts. See, I did a live stream last week where I measured the power draw of the system using the watt meter. And I split the load into two different parts. So I don't need to do that, but I understand how it would be helpful for you guys. The power supply is still, you can still hold it. It is 48 degrees Celsius. That's warm, but that is definitely not really hot. It's not even hot as the 160 gets, guys. Just powering a normal computer system. Very impressive. Very impressive. Okay. Yeah, the HDPLEX 400 is hotter, the DC. And it can run under lava, so we're fine there. So the question is, can we fit this guy in the front? Yes, you can fit this in the front, doing that mod I told you that you could do. There is a question of the motherboard tray. You might have to mod the motherboard tray a little tiny bit, but again, it's very possible. So if you were a modder and you want to stick this in this case with the Gigabyte 1080, you can. But that comes at a cost. Again, the reason I did that, the reason I said it should be 58 millimeters so it only fits on the side, is because the Gigabyte 1080, remember, it pushes half of its heat out the front. So it'd be pushing all its heat right onto your power supply, which isn't good for the 1080 because you really need sky slots for the 1080 anyway. But who knows what's going to happen if you're just dumping a bunch of heat in this power brick. Could it work? Sure, why not? I mean, I've seen people do brickless builds with the 1080 Mini anyway. Guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be doing a 1080 build with this power supply in the front. So we'll see what happens. But it's not something that I'm recommending. I'm just saying, modder to modder, it can be done. Maxim says, isn't grinding a brick better solution? I mean, we've done that with the 300 watt before. You could totally, I mean, do whatever you want to make it work. You make it fit how you want to fit. As long as it works, it works. That's a quotation from my friend Dean. Made it work, it works. Joseph, thank you so much, man. $20 super chat. Thanks for helping to bring awesome products to the modding space. It is my pleasure and honor, to be honest. I am thrilled to have this. It really was an honor that Larry worked with me every step of the way to making this work, because he could just release something that would have totally not been compatible, but he made sure to send me CAD. He made sure to ask me questions. How is it going to fit? Which side do we want the cables on? You know, all these different questions he would ask me because he wanted to serve you guys and you, the mini guys in particular, so he could put that on his website. So I'm really, 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 really thankful to Larry for listening and participating with this community. NBI Live says, I hope the Mini 2070 comes so we can get an S4. I hope that the Mini 2070 comes and it's like shorter, but not longer, and has a front-to-back cooling solution. Thomas says, I got my S4 Mini in the mail, and I ordered the bezel and feet. The attention to detail in this product is stunning, fantastic manufacturing, and I really, really appreciate you saying that. The Mini has been a dream come true for me. I've really wanted to make a luxury product in the computer space, something that was as good as an Apple product. That was really my goal. It was an art goal. Now that means it was really expensive to do, and it's not very profitable, and who knows what the future is for long-term sustainability, but it worked. You guys loved them. I've never gotten a bad email about a Mini before. I got a bad email about a paint job before one time, and I offered to buy it back from the guy, but I didn't hear back from him, so. But everyone's really liked the Mini, so I'm really grateful. So thanks, guys. Could I mod the GPU shroud to make it fit? You'd really have to cut a lot of the GPU shroud off and most of the GPU. So that's unfortunately not going to work. I don't really have anything to say. We have had an hour and 10-minute stream. I do want to answer any questions because I didn't get to everybody last time on accident, and I always want to answer questions. So if you have a question, I've got some time. 400 watt build next stream, definitely if it lines up with what I'm doing. How is my day today? Pretty good. I worked on a motorcycle in the rain all day long though, so I think I'm coming down with a cold. I feel like I am. The compact Dynamo Mini 200 or the HDPLEX 160 watt, which one is better? They're both the same unit. I like the compact unit, looks a little bit better because it has a different heatsink, but they're both the same unit. That might change in the future. Compacts might have more features in the future. I don't know what Larry's plans are for the HDPLEX 160, but right now they're the same product. T. Kuro says, Josh, you've inspired me to make a custom case for myself using 3D printed parts, cut acrylic, and maybe aluminum extrusions. Used to work with acrylic. Is it strong enough for packing in a bag? It really depends on how you make it. Acrylic is very, very, very strong, but it's also brittle, so you have to know how to use it. Joseph Cohn asked the most relevant question of the night. When is the estimated release date for this? I know it's been asked several times before, and there's no estimated release date. This hopefully is the final version. After I run my test with it, if it works out good, I tell Larry. Larry orders them, and he says that within 15 days of ordering them, he can start shipping them. So, hopefully very soon. But not before I place my order for 10 of them, because I have a lot of projects that need to use them. eBuyers has a pre-order for the Zotac 2070 Mini, and he's saying that they expect one by November 30th. That'll be really cool, but again, it's not going to fit in the case with this power brick. I don't think so, anyway. Even with generous modding. Maybe it will, but I don't think it will. Wakwan San says, I know that you said that you don't want to say exact S4 Mini numbers in stock, but could you give an estimate of if they will still be available next 2 to 3 years? Oh, no, definitely not. They will not. I don't know if I'll have any more by the end of the year, to be honest. And I can't reorder them until like spring at the earliest. And then they have to be manufactured. So if you want a Mini, this is the time to get them. And I do not have very many left. and I don't know if I'll be making more. I would like to make more, but I don't know if that's possible right now. But I am going to be making some other products that aren't super high-end luxury computer systems, but I'll be making some stuff in between. Maxim says 40 millimeter or 30 millimeter fans we're having. Website says it's 30. This is, looks like a 40 millimeter fan to me. I could be wrong. It's 40 millimeter. It won't be the LZ7, but it will be something else working with Laser 3D. Tom Brown says, will you consider making small form factor cases that aren't super high-end? I am, but I want to make something good and unique, even if it's not high-end. And I don't know where I want to have it done, or what I want it to look like, or what I want to do yet. But that's why I'm exploring work with Laser 3D. Someone says he wants to use a CryoWorks C7. What's the best way to cut out the side panels? Ugh. I wouldn't cut that side panels out, but the best way to do it... So here's the thing. This aluminum is really strong. It's high-end stuff, so it's going to be very difficult to cut. And on top of that, if you cut a hole with this sky slot pattern, basically what you're left with is a bunch of knives, pointy, jutty knives. It does not look clean. So you're going to have to use some kind of shroud or something to cover the ends off to make it look like it's a clean hole. So, look what I got, John. It's so warm. Doesn't smell like a new computer part, though. That's the sad thing. But it's been through 3 different people testing it. 2 different people. Now me. 3 people. Did the fan cut on at all during the stream because I never heard it? It was on pretty much the whole time there was a 3D application running. Very quiet fan. I'm very impressed. I was expecting this to make a lot of noise, but it did not make a lot of noise. And it's also a heavy-duty fan. It's not a cheap fan. I can tell by the plastic it's made out of. It has a big bearing in it, too. Dunn says, you're not denying the RAP charges. You're using this channel to pay for the lawsuits. What? Sorry for the 15 frame rate streams. Can you change it to a lower setting? Can you stream it at 720? Is it not doing multi-bit rate streaming? That'd be a good question. I don't know if it's doing a multi-bit rate. I thought that YouTube splits it up and re-encodes it on its end. But if I have to do encoding on my end, then I have to use a different computer. Currently have Hyperspin, a system with dual 2 GB drives. Did you ever play with Hyperspin? I have not. I'm sorry. Maxim says, do I have aluminum sky slide front bezels? I do not. I can machine them, but it would be about $100 to do the machine work. So at that price, you can buy a carbon fiber one. So do I do wraps? I don't do wraps this time, though I really want to get back into doing that. Is the HDPLEX 400 AC better than the Geek Custom Flex ATX? I can't say if it's better or not. That's going to be up to you. For me, I'm all about this form factor. That's why I worked with Larry to develop this form factor, or want to do this form factor. Flex, to me, ends up being too wide to be useful. So I need something a little bit more square. So I prefer this. I'll put it that way. But I do like the modded Flex power supply sold by Geek. It's really sexy if you can use a Flex. Well, I'll try to, if you guys want to send me OBS tips or like a link to a good tutorial, I will read up on it and try to do a better job next time. Thank you, Weston. I really appreciate it, man. And you're late, but now's your chance to ask an awesome question. Dunn says, how bad have I been injured by AC? Pretty bad. The worst one was powder coating in my garage. I've already told that story, but I ignited some powder, and when I ignited the powder, it arced and it hit me, and I went out cold. It hit my head, I guess, on the concrete, but that gave me my first concussion, I suppose. and made me pretty stupid. I've not been able to speak as clearly since then. John says, Josh, is the 400 watt a better fit in the S4M brickless than the 300 watt? Oh yeah, totally. This is the 300 watt, and Larry didn't talk to me about the 300 watt beforehand. When he found out, it's like, oh, it's not going to fit. I'm like, dude, you can make it skinnier and longer. So the 300 watt is actually much thicker, and it doesn't fit between the frame rails well. I did make a computer case, which you saw actually at Computex, the S5 Mini, that fit the 300 watt, but it ended up being too thick for my taste, so I never made it. But this is perfect. This allows it to fit inside the Mini, nice and pretty. Oh, you can't see it right there. I'll just put this in for right now since we're wrapping up. And you can use it with a normal height graphics card with a low profile power connector. So that would be the Vega Nano is the most powerful card in this format, but it's also the most unstable. But I really wanted this to be for 260. I mean, a 1060 or 260, I suppose. $1000D is a beautiful computer case. It's too big for my office, but it's a beautiful computer case. Dunn says, can we please see your most expensive product before you go? I don't really have a most expensive product right now. The Mini. The Mini and a carbon fiber bezel. When am I going to make another awesome custom mod? I am definitely working on them around the clock all year round, but I spend a lot of time in the computer designing it out. I actually have it almost finished, and I have a really, really sick idea for the panels, but I don't know if I can make it work, but I'm really hoping it will turn out, so wish me luck on that. And we'll use the HDPLEX 400. The RX 570 Pulse definitely will fit with this. Absolutely, it will fit. It's a normal height graphics card. I'm almost sure it is. I had one in here, and I built one in a Mini. Christian says, just a question, can an HDPLEX AC DC 160 power a 1060? Not really. I wouldn't recommend it. The 1060 is going to pull about 178, 79 watts with a 65 watt CPU, Intel CPU, so that's just not enough. I don't have any comments on Laser 3D's products at this time, but I will have some comments very soon. Some positive comments of stuff that we're working on. Thomas says, I guess, are you asking me, will a 1080 Mini fit? The 1080 will not fit, and no 1080s will fit because they're oversized graphics cards. They're extra tall. The 2080 Ti is a perfect example. This is a normal size graphics cards, but the fad is that they're a little bit taller now, right? Because they want to fit even bigger fans in the front. Okay, done. You're just getting a little bit too weird. Not that it's bothering me, it's just that I can't even respond to it yet. I don't have any good, goofy answers. What's my opinion of the cheap Pico power supplies from China shops? I hate them. So I'm really glad that you got something that's working for you, but I want to make sure that in bulk, when I'm purchasing these things, that they're working solidly for me, because I recommend them to people and I don't want them to hurt themselves or kill themselves on it. So I only recommend products that I've had for a very long time, and I bought lots of them so I get a good sample size. So that's why I only recommend the ones that I do, which are the HDPLEX products and the Mini Box products, of course Compacts products, and from time to time Gary's products when they work. But Gary's, like I said before, my favorite modder. I don't know. You have to talk to him about having something built for you. And yes, there's tons of risk by the cheap Picos. Like my main hobby is buying power supplies. I have so many power supplies in my office. If Linus ever did like a interview, which is my dream, no, I'm just kidding. But if he came and he did like the walkthrough of my office, it would just be power supplies everywhere. It wouldn't be wrapping paper. It would be power supplies. And most of it is just garbage. So But that's what I do at nighttime. I read my iPad and I look at different websites and look and see what new power supply offerings that they have. Phil Schuffner says, can a Vega 56 fit in there with an HDPLEX 400 watt AC? Yes, it can. You just need to use low profile power connectors, and I'll be demonstrating that in a future stream or video. I have actually demonstrated that in a previous stream, actually, but I'll be doing it for real. Can I have 2 Meanwhile RPS 212s and for 1 Pico Power Supply XT and 1 to direct GPU? Sort of. That's my answer there. Sort of. You can try to make it work, and see what happens. In theory, it should work, but if the power supplies are off by even a little tiny bit, I don't know. You could definitely make it work with 2 different input cables. That would definitely work, but that would be kind of messy. Ibrahim? I don't smoke cigars anymore because of some health issues, unfortunately. But my favorite when I quit was probably the Liga Privada, number 14. I also like the Nica Rustica, which was basically a Liga, but half the price. It was the best secret in cigars. Great, great, great smoke. Nalal Nobel Mura? I'm so sorry. Were you considering Flex ATX power supplies by sacrificing the length of the S4 Mini, or were you just like to go with the HDPLEX? Flex doesn't work for me. Like I said in the last video, it doesn't make sense for any small form factor computer case, in my opinion, because it's just an awkward format. That's why I'm all for this new format, the square format. I think it works a lot better from all the layouts that I've done. That's the second time someone says that I have cool braces, but I don't have cool braces. I wish I had cool braces. Fair enough. All right, well, it's been an hour and 30 minutes, so I'll take 2 more questions and then band done as my last act as president of this stream. Have I considered a slightly wider case to allow for the 400 watt and still be able to run a mini 1080 Ti? I have no idea why you'd even think that I would consider a wider case. But yes. Ugh. All right. Last act as president. You actually can't. Stupid. How stupid is this? All right, I will talk to you guys later. I really appreciate hanging out with me for the stream. Thank you, HDPLEX, for making a kick butt product. I will do my testing, and I will report back to you guys next week. And hopefully we'll have time to make an actual video in between there. But thanks for joining. I'm going to go to bed. Talk to you later, guys.